What's next for the cruiserweight division? And AB back in the news. We get to all that next. Please like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. Leave a comment below. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Sunday Morning Champion. A lot of cruiserweight action to get into, plus more bizarre behavior from Adrian Broner. Oleksandr Usyk is the man of the hour. He boxed beautifully yesterday. He got hit with a few more right hands than we would have liked to have seen. But the second half of that fight, round 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, and 8, really dominated through those beautiful combinations. Showed that excellent footwork, that excellent hand speed. Fought really well. I want to give credit to Blue. Blue fought a lot better than I thought he was going to. He had some moments with the right hand. He looked to be able to time Usyk beautifully. He did a lot better than I thought. I thought this was going to look a lot like the Garcia fight where Usyk just dominated him and outclassed him. That's not what happened. This was a competitive fight for the most part. I had it 5 rounds to 2. I want to get into the scorecards later for Usyk at the time of the knockout. The judges had Blue winning, which I found a little strange, but we can get into that later. Usyk has now cleaned out the cruiserweight division. There's literally nothing left, especially with that tournament going on, where Bright Ice is the number 1 ranked cruiserweight in that tournament. He got the benefit of a controversial decision. There's Tabiti, Glowicki. There's not much left. There's only one move left for Usyk, and that's to go up to the heavyweight division. We think he's going to do just fine. As I've said on this show many times, I'd pick him to beat Deontay Wilder. I stick to that. I would still pick him to beat Wilder, but he needs to fix a few things. He got hit with one too many right hands by Blue. He needs to keep that punch output high and not eat right hands. I know that's a little easier said than done. But look, Blue's right hand is good. Wilder's is on a different planet. So he has to execute perfectly. He needs to throw his combinations, step out, step back in, throw it to the head, throw it to the body, get back out. I think he's going to have to work Wilder's body, which really hasn't been done much before. That would be a key. And really, it would have to be throw your combinations and get in. Time to get in, throw your combinations and get out. Because he's going to be at a 4-inch height disadvantage and several inches in reach. So he's going to have to fight brilliantly. Now he's got the athleticism. He's going to be compared to Holyfield. And if you look how Holyfield beat Bo in the second fight, Usyk would have to take that and implement it. I think he can do it because Wilder is flawed. As long as Usyk doesn't do two things. As long as he doesn't get stationary and doesn't fatigue, he'll dominate Deontay Wilder. So if his punch output stays high, he's going to have a high punch output, like we saw in the Garcia fight. And he's going to have to stay busy. And we're going to have to say, he's going to have to stay busy, okay? And he can't let that right hand drop, the lead right hand. Besides Wilder's right hand, Wilder has a snappy jab. That's not really going to come into play, just like it didn't come into play against Ortiz because of the southpaw stance. So he already nullifies half of Wilder's two-punch output, right? His jab and his right hand. So now he just has to avoid the right hand. So if he doesn't fatigue and he stays busy, I don't think that Wilder has the skill set to land that big right hand, right? The common recurring question is, well, what happens when Wilder hits him? I don't think Wilder hits him. I mean, we can say that about anyone. Do you think Wilder beats Ali? Well, what happens when Wilder hits him? No, I don't think he hits him. I don't think he has the skill set to land that right hand if Usyk doesn't fatigue. If Usyk fights his fight, I don't think he lands that big right hand on him. And look, Wilder's right hand is one of the biggest threats in boxing. It is. But look, it's not like if he hits you with it, you go down. He's hit other people with his right hand. He has to land it clean and perfectly. If he lands it clean and perfectly, you go down. I don't think that's going to happen with Usyk. And look, Usyk's not a little guy. He's going to come in at 220, right? So he's only going to be a few pounds smaller than Wilder. This is not in the amateurs. In the Olympics, they fought in the same weight division. This is not a drastic difference, especially in the heavyweight division. 5-10 pounds in the heavyweight division is not a lot. Right? Think about it. If Wilder jumped in the ring with Big Baby Miller, which isn't an unreasonable thing, it probably will happen at some point in their career, he'll be giving up 70 pounds. Think about that, right? Like Usyk's giving up 10 to Usyk's giving up 10 to Wilder. Wilder will be giving up 70 pounds to Big Baby. So again, keep that in perspective. And I'm sure, and I wouldn't. I'm sure everyone else would pick Wilder to beat Big Baby Bill, even being at a 70-pound disadvantage. So keep that in mind, right? I mean, they're going to be about the same size. They fought the same size, same weight class in the Olympics. Usyk's skill level is on a different planet than Wilder's. I understand Wilder can punch, but the skill set's not the same. It did give me some hesitation, though. I don't want to say hesitation because I would pick Usyk to beat Wilder. But he got hit with too many right hands from Bellew for my liking. Bellew was able to time him perfectly. Wilder can time shots. He doesn't want to get hit with right hands like that from Wilder. So he'd have to shore that up a little bit. If Usyk was to fight him again, the game plan, I think, would be simple. Go in there, dominate the first 8 rounds, go in there win the jab, work the body, get in, get out, get in, get out. The punch output is going to have to be high because you're going to have to win all first 8 rounds clearly and convincingly on all the scorecards. Then after that, the last 4 rounds, just stay away. Just don't bother him. Don't hesitate. If he gets close, tie him up. Other than that, use your agility, use your mobility, and stay away from him. The difference here in Usyk's not a small guy. We don't need to bulk Usyk up anymore. You don't want to bulk Usyk up. So the Usyk that we see at cruiserweight is going to be the same Usyk that we see at heavyweight. Right? There's not going to be a change in his body. He's not going to bulk up. He's not going to get bigger. Like, this is what we're going with. And again, I think he walks into the ring in a heavyweight fight at 220, and I think Wilder walks in at 225, so it's not a big deal. Now, Anthony Joshua, which I think we will see. I think April 14th, I think, is the date that Joshua has set for Wimbledon. I think we're going to get Joshua and Usyk. We will see. Let me know what you think if that fight is next. Or if you guys think I'm crazy. Is Eddie Hearn going to put him with another heavyweight? But I don't think that Eddie Hearn is looking at Usyk as a long-term heavyweight, right? Like, I think he's looking at him for AJ. If he wins, great. If not, then we put him back down at cruiserweight. I think that's the plan. But let me know what you guys think. If Usyk is to beat Wilder, he has to stay busy. He has to win the first 8 rounds and then just avoid the big shots from Wilder for the last 4 and just stay off the back foot and don't entice him. Now, obviously, there's going to be lots of comparisons to Usyk and Holyfield, right? Because no one's dominated the cruiserweight division like Usyk has since Holyfield, 30 years ago now. It's been 30 years. There's a major difference. Holyfield didn't fight in a major era where there were common 240, 250-pound heavyweights. There were 220-pound heavyweights, right? He beat guys like Dokes, Tyson, obviously, Michael Moore, Buster Douglas, who was 240 but fat. At lean, he was 225, 230. He fought guys like that. There weren't too many 240, 250 pounders. When Holyfield did fight those guys, Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis, he didn't do great against them. He basically went 1-4 and was knocked out once against those guys, right? He beat Bowe once out of three fights. Great fight. The second fight took a narrow decision over him, which I thought he won. And then he lost the slugfest in the first fight and got knocked out by him in the third fight, and he lost to Lewis twice. I know he got the draw in the first Lewis fight officially, but we all know that Lewis dominated that fight. If anything, he should have got a draw in the second fight. He actually fought really well in the second fight, but the judges gave the decision to Lewis instead. So then the other reason why that's not a good comparison is when Holyfield moved up from cruiserweight to heavyweight. There was one goal for Holyfield. Make him a heavyweight. Put 10 to 15 pounds muscle on him and get that 190 pound cruiserweight who's probably walking around about 197, 198, up to 210 to 215. That was the goal. That's not the goal for Usyk. You don't want to bulk him up. You don't want to lose any of that flexibility, any of that mobility. You don't want to lose any of that with Usyk. You want to keep him just as he is, because what makes him special is his speed and his reflexes. If you bulk him up, you're gonna lose some of that. So this is the Usyk that we're getting. We don't want to change his body type at all. So the comparison of Usyk to Holyfield is common. You're going to hear it over and over again, and it's not unreasonable, but those are the two reasons why it's really not a great comparison. Was because Holyfield wasn't fighting 250-pound heavyweights the way that Usyk will have to, and also you don't want to bulk Usyk up anymore. So there's not going to be a transformation. There's not going to be a process, right? There was a process with Holyfield from taking from a cruiserweight, build him up to a heavyweight over time. You saw him fight Pinkman Thomas, guys like that. You don't want to do that with Usyk. So this is going to be a brief stay at heavyweight if he doesn't win. If he wins, then obviously you keep him at heavyweight. And I personally think he will win, but we'll get to all that. I want to get into the other cruiserweight action. And I want to get into this. Give me your thoughts. To everyone needs to let me know. Leave your thoughts, comments below on Maris Briedis' victory last night. I'm going to put victory in air quotes. He got the verdict. This fight stinks, though. This was one of the worst decisions I've seen. Obviously, I think this was the worst decision of the year. There's something not right with this decision. Look, Noel Gravor, a.k.a. Noel Mikaelian, dominated round after round. Wasn't even close. And one of the judges had a 116-110 for Briedis. Meaning, Mikaelian won 3 rounds. Really? He won at a bare bones minimum 9 rounds. Bare bones minimum, he won 9 rounds. He probably won 9 rounds, right? I mean, anywhere from 9 to 10 is what he won. Then, Briedis, remember, and I picked Briedis to win the fight. If you go back and listen, I picked it to be competitive and close, if you listen to my prediction show on Friday, but I picked Briedis to win. So I was wrong, kind of. I was wrong that Briedis was going to win because he lost, but he got the verdict, right? I mean, there's no one way you can watch that fight. And I went back and watched it again today to make sure my eyes didn't deceive me, and I didn't let Ray Flores and BJ Flores, who also saw it the way I saw it, deceive me. But no. Mikaelian won the fight clearly, and it wasn't even close. But let me know what you guys think. And I want to go into this, right, because this is a major problem. I want to give the 3 judges' names. Hubert Min, Steve Morrow, okay, we know Steve Morrow, and Benjamin Rendon. Benjamin Rendon had a 116-110 for Briedis. They all had it for Briedis because it was a unanimous decision. I mean, these cards aren't far off, but they're for the wrong guy. And that's why, like Ray Flores said, "Are you sure you have this for the right guy?" It doesn't seem like they did. I mean, this 116-110 and 115-111 seem like reasonable cards to score for the score for Noel Mikaelian. 114-112 is just too close. This fight wasn't close. Mikaelian outboxed him from range, but those are the three judges' names. I don't know what they were looking at, and we need to fix this in boxing, right? We can't have two unknown judges score the fight for Briedis. Right? We can't have them scoring fights at all. They shouldn't be there. I don't know why they keep putting these fights in Chicago. There's no reason to put these fights in Chicago. It doesn't sell out here. And then they don't even import judges. They just use local judges and Steve Morrow, and you get a totally bogus, ridiculous decision. Either these judges were... There needs to be an investigation into these judges. The scorecards were that bad. This reminds me of Arislandi Lara and Paul Williams. There's just no way you can get to these cards. I mean, 116-110 for Briedis is one of the worst scorecards I've ever seen. Ever. In the history of boxing, that's one of the worst scorecards I've ever seen. There's just no way you can give him 9 rounds. It's utterly ridiculous. Look, Mikaelian outboxed him from range. He kept him on the defensive, kept him at the end of his punches. He's a long, rangy fighter. He kept him on the defensive, kept him at the distance. He fought his fight. And by the second half of that fight, Mikaelian got into his groove and dominated the fight. He outboxed him, outclassed him, and you could see how frustrated Briedis was becoming. He didn't look like himself. He was taken out of his fight. And when it was announced that he won the fight, he was shocked. Like, his corner was shocked because no one thought he won the fight. And now... Look, Briedis has already made a pretty penny in the sport, and now he's going to go on and make some more. And Mikaelian got totally jobbed, right? lost a totally bogus decision, and now he has to go back, and he doesn't even have a big name opponent to take. He's not going to get a rematch because Brady is moving on to fight Glowicki in the next round. So there's nothing you can do there, and he can't even fight one of the top name cruiserweights because Usyk is moving out of the division. I mean, I think if Usyk can't fight in April against Joshua, if that fight goes to someone else, AJ or Fury, namely, then Eddie Hearn, I think, owes it. Well, not Eddie Hearn, but DAZN owes it to Mikaelian to give him a fight with Usyk. And I'm dead serious because, I mean, you took this opportunity away from him. I don't think he beat Usyk, but you need to give him that opportunity, right? You need to right this wrong somehow. So that's one way you could do it. But that scorecard was ridiculous, and it needs to be investigated. And look, he's not going to get a big fight right away because everyone else is tied up in this tournament, and Usyk's moving out of the weight class. So this guy's out of luck. And that's unfortunate and tragic because there's no way the scorecard's reasonable. You know, there's times like Horn and Pacquiao, which I scored for Pacquiao, which I can completely understand you score for Horn. There's no way you can get to the scorecard. 116-110 by Benjamin Brandon it is utterly ridiculous. It's like you didn't even bother watching the fight. You just handed your scorecard in for Bradis. And why Bradis? Why would this be in the bag for him? I mean, he doesn't have any fan base. He's from a country that most people can't even find on a map. Only hardcores in this country know who he is, and the fight was in this guy. I just does Bradis and Glowacki have any more luster than Mikaelian and Glowacki? Like, I don't think so. Like, so what was the purpose of this fight? This needs to be investigated, and we need to stop getting absurd judges who have no experience in these important fights. You can't have them in any fights. Like, there's not that many fights in each state where you can't establish judges. And for these fights, bring them in. There are good. This is not that difficult to score this fight. This was not a difficult fight to score with. There should have been so many different scores. Everyone I talked to thought Mikaelian won. Nobody thought Bradis won the fight because he didn't win the fight. It wasn't even close. So let me know what you guys think. I was outraged by this. I think this is the robbery of the year. Am I forgetting anything? Was anything close to this bad? Because this was about as bad a decision as I've seen in a while. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. One more item on the docket to get into. Adrian Broner back in the news, and obviously with Broner, it's never good. Although he didn't do anything, terrible. He's traveling with Tank Davis, and he went up to an armed guard in an airport, and he begged the armed guard not to shoot him. Just really bizarre behavior. He wasn't under arrest or anything like that. He just started begging the armed guard not to shoot him in the airport. This is how he's preparing for Pacquiao. That fight's 2 months away. Like, shouldn't you be in camp now? Shouldn't you be? But this is what he's doing. There was the incident on the Chick-fil-A line where he cut everyone and was carrying on and whatever. It's just strange behavior out of AB that we come to expect. So here's my question. Why is he allowed near Tank Davis? Look, Adrian Broner, you're a joke. We get that. You're a sideshow. You're a circus freak. I get that. Tank Davis is a real fighter. Okay? Tank Davis is a real fighter with a fight with Abner Mars coming up. We need to get him prepared. We need to get him ready. We need to keep him focused. Okay? So you do your little sideshow antics, but just stay away from Tank Davis. Seriously, if you are Al Heyman or Floyd, keep your future cash cow away from Adrian Broner and vice versa. Like, don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have to bring your trash everywhere? Meaning Broner, like, just keep him away from Tank Davis. There's no reason for Tank. Like, I know that they both train with Kevin Cunningham. I get that, but look, you guys can go to the gym together. You basically work together. You don't associate outside of the gym because Adrian Broner is not a serious fighter, and Tank Davis is. Tank Davis is 23, 24 years old, just entering his prime, and he's the future. He is a special, unique fighter. Look, Adrian Broner wasn't interested. He doesn't let his hands go. There's a million problems with AB. It's fine. AB can make money. He can still sell tickets. He's gonna fight Pacquiao. He could potentially win that fight. Just keep him away from Tank Davis. Like, let him do his own little thing on the side, and let's focus in on building Tank. I've said for a number of, I did a show on it. We did an article at 3dboxingblog.com. Tank Davis needs to get away from Floyd Mayweather. He really does. He just needs to get away from he needs to go directly with Al, or he needs to go to, I don't want him to go to Eddie, but he needs to get away from that. Because there's two things that you need to do if you're promoting and in charge of running Tank Davis's career. One, keep him busy. Just keep him in the ring, right? Look, Tank Davis has gotten in some little little Mickey Mouse trouble. Nothing serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's little things like that kids do, and I don't mean to call him a kid like a little, but he was 22 when he did these things. Like, it's not a big deal. Just keep him busy, keep him focused, because boredom breeds this, right? Like, boredom breeds destruction. When do you do dumb things? When you're bored. So keep him busy, keep him in the ring 3-4 times a year, and I'm serious. And keep him away from Adrian Broner. So keep him busy, keep him away from Adrian Broner. And they've done neither of those two things. It failed miserably at both those things. Like, they're just not running his career properly. I'm not telling him to go sign with Eddie Hearn, but go talk to Al about working with them. I need to stay busy. I need to stay in the ring. What do you think of me working with Eddie in the same capacity that Danny Jacobs does? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is your career. You need to stay away from that, right? Adrian Broner's not serious. Just stay away from him and stay focused on your career. And you need to stay in the ring. You fought once this year. You fought once since last August. So once in about 15, 16 months, you fought one time. That's not good. You should have fought you should have fought 4 times in 16 months. Anyway, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts, comments below on the Cruiserweight action, on AB, on Tank Davis. Let me know what you think. For Sunday Morning Champion, this is 3D Boxing. Signing off, saying thank you, and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.